Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
I want to show you my way cool new shirt, though. Homeschool Mama.
She's so cute.
I was super excited about this. I ordered it. I guess I should find it on Instagram. Little Mama Shirts. Little Mama Shirts. She has a tiny, tiny section for homeschoolers. I had actually messaged her and said, we need a homeschool shirt. And she goes, I do have one. And I was like, oh, you just have one. So I need to create my own line.
This is the one?
This is the one she had.
Cute.
It's cute. And it's way comfy because I'm a sucker for
create your own
sweaters.
line. You have good shirt ideas.
I still want the Homeschool Hotties shirt. And I don't think Karen would wear one.
I would wear it for this.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't wear it out.
Would you wear it to co-op though and match with me?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
We'd get
different.
like opposite colors.
That's different. Those are like people that know me.
Yeah.
Going to the grocery store in it, that's a different story. I
Oh my
might feel a
gosh.
little awkward.
It's fine. You're so adorable. You could pull it off. Okay. Let's record. All right. Welcome back to this week's episode.
Hello, friends. We're on episode 75 today.
And we're talking
Moving
about
right along.
curriculum. If you remember 2 weeks ago, we told you why your curriculum doesn't even matter. But just kind of giving you that confidence that it's okay to switch curriculums, like having that connection with your children.
It's okay if you don't use it the way it was written.
Yes. Or if other people love something and you're like, I hate this.
Yeah.
To
or
just
you can't
throw it
take
out. Yes. So last week I guess I got to interview Marin and talk about Family School, which is an online program created by American Heritage.
Do they still have the physical of it too?
You know what? It sounds like they didn't. That you could print
because I
it.
did use that once upon a time.
I remember that. Our co-op we're in, I was not in it the very first
Yeah.
year. And the very first year, it was based off of Family
It was based
School.
off of Family School, and it's a very good curriculum. I liked it quite a lot. Yeah, it's good.
So we decided we were going to have, Karen had the cutest idea of interviewing all of our friends and creating little episodes about all of this. And they are all busy homeschool moms. And coordinating schedules was becoming very difficult. So we've decided we will just get from them, like they're just going to write down some of their favorites.
And we'll just tell you about
And we'll
them.
just
so
tell
you
you about
get
them.
to see our friends. I don't think they want to be seen.
I always
It's
do want
intimidating, and I get it.
Yeah.
So we'll interview them and get their favorites, and we'll be talking about them subject by subject over the next few episodes.
people. Yes.
But today we're going to share things that we have used over the years and what's worked and maybe not worked and reasons why we've loved it or not loved it.
Yeah, so we are going to break it down into 4 categories of history, language arts, science, and math. And then each of those are getting their own episode as well of people that we know, trust, and love, of different things that they've used in case, like different personalities, different family dynamics. Like some people I know I've coached have an only child. And they say, like, that sounds like it would work well if you have 1,000 children. But what do you do? That's what it feels like some days. Not today. Today's been pretty good. So let's dig in with history first.
History. Yeah, what are you using this year?
Okay, so this year I have only have 2 children that I'm teaching history to.
Me
So-
too, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, my oldest is doing his own thing, and my
Yes.
middle second is doing her own thing. I mean, I can tell you what she's using, but she does it on her own.
Yes. So this year I am doing a literature-based history, and I just kind of asked them what time era they are interested in. And Tess actually has been super into Greek mythology. And so I know it's kind of funny because you call it history, but like Greek mythology, but it created their culture and a lot of things about them. And so anyway, she wanted to read the Odyssey, and I was not going to stop her from reading that. So she's reading the Odyssey, and Brigham wanted to do American history. And so I found a book off of Beautiful Feet. And I want to say their website is bfbooks.com. Yeah. And I just picked their history curriculum. And it's just really, it's big text and pictures. And he's able to get through it. He's like, I knew all of this stuff anyway. I was like, oh, that's so great. You're
That's cute.
so smart. So that's what we're doing this year, but it's not what I've always done. But tell you what you were doing this year.
So we are, 3 of my kids are using Beautiful Feet this year. And I've used that on and off throughout the years, and I just love it. It's literature based. And what it comes with, if you buy the set, is they have like a little teacher guide that just tells you, read this many pages today, and here's a couple of questions to discuss and maybe a journal writing prompt. I haven't always used the teacher guide. I am this year, just as like a guideline for how much to read each day, because it just helps keep me on track. And I'm doing that with my two youngest. We're doing American history.
Oh, okay. Probably the
Also.
same book.
It's probably the same thing. We've got like a set of books that we use. And I love it. My kids love it. We've been reading about Leif Erikson and Columbus right now. And so it's good. We're doing that. And my middle one is also, she's doing the same thing, but just an upper level. So they have different levels. Like there's early elementary and then intermediate and like a more advanced level for like high school up. And so we're just doing 2 different levels of that in our home right now.
That's fun. Yeah, so it's literally called American History by Earl.
Oh, you have the big
Shank.
book of it? That's
Yeah, I have
one.
a child's first book of American
Yeah, that's
history.
a good book. A child's first book. It's a fun one.
And then we do biographies with it, and so I bought the ones from here. So it had Benjamin Franklin, Pocahontas, and Paul Revere.
Yeah.
And I love this author, and now
So
I can't
you're
remember.
using the intermediate one for him.
I am. So Briggy
Yeah.
is 4th grade, and I picked the intermediate one.
So, and I was going between the two because I'm teaching a 1st grader and a 4th grader. And I started the first couple of days we were doing the intermediate, and it was a little above my younger one's head. And I felt like if I just went down, then they both would be totally fine with it. And so we are doing the younger one, the elementary one, for them.
Okay.
But it's covering most of the
There
books
we go.
overlap even. And so it's not much different. It's just the pace is different and some of the books are a little different. But it's a great, great, great curriculum. I love it.
So it has the Pocahontas, the Benjamin Franklin, and we actually already own the George Washington.
Yeah, and I owned most of those already.
Leif the Lucky, we have that one. Columbus, we have that one.
I think I didn't have to buy any this time for it.
Yes,
I had them all.
there's the author. I like it. So I never know how to say it. Ingrid and Edgar.
Dialer.
It's some really great French right there on
Yeah.
us. But their books are so fun, and
They are.
they're really pretty, and they have good content.
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing this year?
Yeah.
So what have you done throughout the years?
So we've done that one several years.
Oh, okay.
But in the past, last year we were using the Good and Beautiful level 1, year 1 or whatever. They're not really levels; they're years.
Yeah.
And I liked it. And actually, no, we were doing that for 2 years. We did level 1 and then level 2 we were going through, and I didn't like the second one as much. They changed the format and the style, and I just didn't like it as much. And so we went back to Beautiful Feet this year.
Yes, I also tried The Good and the Beautiful last year, and I think we lasted a month.
Yeah.
Briggy and I were just reading it alone and together, and it felt very discombobulated. And I never quite understood, like, it was like, go listen to this audio thing. And if you didn't listen to the audio thing, then
you
it didn't make
understand.
sense.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was kind of long and dry. And so we lasted about a month, and then we went back to literature-based.
Yeah. We prefer the literature-based as well for our history. Other ones we've tried over the years, we've done Story of the World. We did those quite a while at the beginning when we first started homeschooling.
Yes,
we went through all 4 years of those.
Yes, and that's by Susan Wise Bauer.
And those are very good.
I loved them. We did them at one point I had all 6 of my kids. So I have 7, right? But the baby's the caboose. So when I had all 6 of them, this was my dream history curriculum, because you read a small story. And then you were telling me, I think we talked about this one time.
The activity books.
The activity book, and I would just pick one, but you were doing all the activities.
I wasn't doing
right?
all of them. No, I would pick a couple. But what I would do is the activity guide also lists book recommendations.
Oh, that's right.
And so we would go to the library and just try to find as many as we could. So like through the month, we were reading different things that went along with it. And we didn't always do it all, but we did a lot of it. And it's fun, and it's kind of pick and
really
choose and fill it in as you like. So that I highly recommend also.
Yes,
And
my kids still have fun memories, because we made hardtack one time.
Yeah.
We made a fish kite. Like,
Yeah,
we
it's
just
great.
always did, like, sewing. We made bags one time. So we always did something, but it worked really well in our family dynamic when everybody was doing the same thing.
And I think it was kind of the same for us. My kids were all kind of together, and younger I was doing several at once around the same ages. And so it just worked well for us for a few years there. And I don't know.
Yeah.
After a while, and there's not that there's anything wrong with it, but I think for me as a mom and a teacher, I need variety, and our needs as a family change. And so
Yes, and I just say it's interesting, too, with Brigham next year will kind of be mostly solo. And if I brought other kids over or did it in a co-op, I think it could be super fun, but I don't think he'd enjoy it alone.
yeah, I think you're right.
And so, I mean, I'm sure it can be for either or, but for me personally, I liked it for
More
a
in like
group.
a group setting. I agree with that. Yeah. And then also we've used, we did one year with The Well-Educated Heart.
Okay.
where that was just our history, and they have like a monthly rotation where it focuses on different topics.
And how did you like that?
Honestly, I like the books, but we struggled with the monthly rotation when I tried to follow it because we would just be getting into something and never quite finish it. And it's time to move on to the next month, and my kids were always disappointed. And they didn't want to move on to the next month. They wanted to finish the book we were reading. And so after like maybe 3 months of that, I finally just stopped rotating and just kept reading the ones we were reading that we loved. And if we didn't love it, we'd put it aside and move on to a next one.
Yes, I love the Well-Educated Heart philosophy, but the monthly rotation doesn't work.
It didn't
for
work
my
well
mind.
for us either.
Yes.
But I do love their books and the philosophy of it as well. And if you haven't heard of that, I highly recommend checking it out. It's just great stuff.
I think we'll do a full episode about Well-Educated Heart.
I'd actually
just 'cause we
like to
it
interview
a lot.
her someday. Marlene
yes.
Peterson. She's amazing. She'd be a fun one to have on. So maybe that'll happen someday. We'll see.
We'll see. If you know Marlene, put the word out there that we want to hit her
contact her too.
I know, but if like she's your grandma, like.
And then one more that I just want to put a plug in for that I've been helping creating this last couple months. It's called Covenant Land, and this is very LDS specific with Book of Mormon scriptures and prophets. But it brings in principles of Jesus Christ and American history, and it's really fun. And we are about to release it, but right now I just have 7 free lessons up that you can check out.
What's the website on
it's
that?
covenantland.com,
Oh, okay.
and I'll link that for you guys.
Yes, I did see that. If you sign up for their email, you get the first 7 lessons for free.
Yeah, and all of the curriculum, it's being written by a big team, like over 50 people are helping on
really
it.
amazing people.
Really cool people. Yeah, so neat.
Did you write some of the lessons?
I've written some, and I've been doing a lot of the editing and the making them pretty
She's
and
good at
stuff like that. But what I love about it is this whole thing is not for profit, and we're going to donate 100% of the proceeds to Operation Underground Railroad, which I'm super excited about too.
Which, if you're not familiar with, is that they end child trafficking.
Yeah.
And so they're really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's some of our history that we've used throughout the years and what we're doing currently. I really loved Beautiful Feet.
Yes.
But I really love literature-based stuff too, and so I love my 12-week rotation, and it's just super simple.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dig in now to language arts.
Alrighty. Language arts. So currently in our family, we are using The Good and the Beautiful for all my kids. And then we also use Explode the Code books, which are fun. They're just little phonics books that my kids just love. That's our current.
Okay,
Yours.
so I started with The Good and the Beautiful last year, or like a year and a half ago or something like that. And my Joshie hated it, but he also struggles with a bad attitude about a lot of curriculum, if that makes sense, if you have a kid like that. So it was hard to kind of gauge it. And then Tess likes it, so she is still doing it. But Brigham is to the point now, he's 4th grade, and he's like, I cannot take this 1 second more.
Aww.
Like, he's almost in tears every day, and I thought,
Something's wrong here.
I don't think this is working for us. So I think Joshie would have benefited from something different, but hindsight's 2020. And that's what the power of forgiveness is for.
So what are you doing instead now?
So, Briggy, I'm actually going back to the basics, and I've done this a lot with my kids when like they just hate something and it's hard. So we're back to, and I wrote it down because I knew I'd forget the name of it, First Language Lessons by Jessie Wise, and that's from The Well-Trained Mind, and that's where you can buy Story of the World as well. And they are very short and to the point. And so today we said a sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. All sentences begin with a capital letter and end with a punctuation. And then yesterday we talked about what statements were, and we came up with statements, right? Like, my shirt is black. We're usually silly or something like, the floor is fuzzy or something like that. I was going to say something sillier, but I decided against it. And then today was a command, right? So I commanded him to do different things, so he pretended, eat a sandwich, make my bed, do these things, and that was the whole language lesson. And all of a sudden, he stopped crying to do language arts, and it's fun again.
Yay.
And so with him, I've set back. Tess is finishing. This is like The Good and Beautiful only really goes up to 7th grade, and so she'll just finish 7th grade and then be done with it. And so Briggy, I'm going back to the first language lessons, and that's what I used with all my older kids. But everybody kept raving about The Good and the Beautiful, and so I jumped on the bandwagon, and It's just not working for
Wasn't a
us.
fit for her family.
No, and it's a lot too.
And
It
that's
has
so much of
geography
what
and
we
art.
talked about in that episode that we mentioned at the
Yeah.
beginning, where, if something doesn't work, you have to figure out what works for your family. And just because friends are using it does not mean it's going to work for your family. You don't have to feel guilt.
No, and like the fact that we tried it last year with Joshi, which is funny because then the program he's doing this year, he was like, I knew what everything meant because of the stupid language arts. And I was like, you're welcome.
That's funny.
So he did not get to the point of loving it, but he has a respect for it now because he can see the point of some of it. But I really like them. I also love Explode the Code, and I start about preschool age with them. They have like an ABC, and then they do one, and they even have halves.
Yeah. So if something's a little hard, jump.
Yes, and I know book 4 is syllables, which has been hard for every single one of my children, and I actually save it for very last.
Oh, interesting.
And so I do it till they are done, and it's usually about 3rd grade.
Yeah, we do the same.
And then handwriting, I love handwriting without tears.
Same. We love handwriting without tears also. I also have used that I've loved All About Spelling and All About Reading. I've used those a lot with, like, my 2 oldest. I used those when they were learning to read, and those were good for them, and they're fun. It's just a more interactive, like, mom time curriculum. Like, you have to, I don't know, it's a little more involved, which is fine if you have less kids and more time to spend with them. But once you get busier, and it just feels harder for me. But it is a very good curriculum that I liked a lot, and good for teaching reading.
And then to teach my kids to read, I have used Happy Phonics by Diane Hopkins for all of my children.
Those are so fun.
Yes, because they're fun. And so I actually you have to cut everything up. And so it's like $60 now. And you have to cut everything up. And I actually laminated everything. And so it has lasted through all my children. So Master George gets to use it too. But like right now with him, we're just playing with puzzles. Karen can see his stash. And we're singing the alphabet, and we're learning how to hold a pencil, and we're counting bears, and we're just having a good time. And then as he starts progressing, we will go into Happy Phonics, where the very first one is matching the lowercase letters with the uppercase letters, and it's a muffin. And so we usually have the babies trying to find their mamas, and you start matching it. And it just slowly builds upon it. And then I love Frontline Reader Phonics. Yes. It was from my son. My oldest did preschool, and it was the books that they used. And I loved them.
Other ones we have used for a little older is IEW for their writing.
Yes.
I like their programs. Those are really good. We used Growing with Grammar for a long time, which is just basically a grammar curriculum.
Okay.
I used that with Brennan and Elsie for several years, and it's a good, solid grammar curriculum. Not too hard, not too like stressful, little mini lessons that they would just do each day. Once we started The Good and the Beautiful, we didn't need that because it's kind of encompassing there. We've also used Memoria Press.
I've never even heard of any of these.
So I have had the privilege, as being a homeschool blogger, of getting a whole ton of different curriculum for free over the years, and so I've tried so many, and I won't even list all the ones I've tried because it's been a lot.
Yeah.
You're welcome to go search the backlog of my posts and read them, but I'll tell you a couple that we've really liked, and that Memoria Press is really cool. It's one of those like all-in-one box curriculums.
Okay.
But I really did like their literature grammar English portion of it a lot. It was really well done and in depth, and it's the classical style of education, which is just, I think it's a little more intense. So it didn't necessarily fit our style well, but I did really like. It was very high quality and really nice stuff. So I do highly recommend them if that's your style of learning. And then we also like, and I think you use this too, English from the Roots Up, and that's the Latin and Greek roots.
Oh, okay.
So
Yes,
it's
I was
not
like,
like a
do I?
curriculum, but it's a book, and they have flashcards that teaches you the roots of words and what they mean. Didn't you use this before? I thought you mentioned you
Yes,
had.
I did. It's not. That's not the one I used.
Oh,
But I
okay.
did do a Greek and Latin roots.
So this is the one I love, and we have Volume 1 and Volume 2. We're working through Volume 2 right now. And we have loved it, and we just pull that in with our morning, like, devotional time. It's not devotional, but it's like our gathering in the morning time, and do that. And and it's been really great. I love it. And it's helped my kids to just learn the meaning of words really well.
Yes, so it's funny. So I think I've talked about this before. My husband's undergrad is linguistics, and he is a nerd for words in the most adorable way possible. But this was a subject that he was like, I want you to be teaching him languages, and I want him to understand all these things. And yes, you need to know what all these parts of speech are. And I just said, that's awesome. And when I first started homeschooling, I tried to fulfill that request. But if we're being honest, it does not speak to my heart quite like it does with his. And so I've learned to respect his wishes. And every now and then, if I'm feeling up to the energy, we will add in Greek or Latin roots. But I don't have it in me this semester or term. And so, but like when we were reading scriptures, that's when I think this is your moment. This is your opportunity to shine. Because he learned Hebrew to better understand the Bible, and he learned Greek to better understand the New Testament. But this is the nerdiness, and it's sexy. But that he also learned their culture so that when they're saying something and doing something, that you understood the depth of it, right?
Yeah.
And then we were even talking this morning, and he goes, you can't really take Hebrew numbers at face value because their numbers they're not just, he always says the word, is it qualitative? Is that a right word? They have meaning to the numbers, right? Like 3 is truth.
Oh, right. Okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
12 is the priesthood. So different things like that. So the numbers, so when there's a year, or I mean, they talked about 2,000 something people saw Christ after he was crucified and resurrected. And my husband was like, you can't take that at face value because it was Hebrew culture. So it could literally mean 2,000 people. So I think there's your opportunity to shine. I can't teach all the things. And that kind of goes along with episode 73 with your curriculum, right? Like that's something he's super passionate about. And if I were trying to explain that, you heard how well I just tried to explain that. Then it doesn't speak to my heart, but it does his. And so he gets our kids super excited about it.
That's cool.
And so I think, I don't know, that's my 2 cents when husband's like, you really should teach this. And I was like, oh, thank you for the suggestion. How are you going to work that in your busy schedule? Like, I can't wait to see what you do with this.
I hope you do it.
Yeah.
Here you go.
So I kind of washed my hands of some of those things that, like, I'm just going through the motions. So anyways, that was a tangent.
That's all right. We like tangents here. Okay, let's move on to science.
Karen's like, for the love of all things, move on.
No, you're awesome. Science. So what are you doing this year for science?
Okay, so what is Tessie Girl doing now that we just said this? It is literature based. And last year, what we did was we had a different science idea, and then I had books that they would read on their own. So, like, I'm holding this for those on YouTube. It's Gail Gibbons. So this was about sharks. So each kid would read about this book. So say I did a shark lesson on Monday, and then Tuesday a kid would get the book, Wednesday a kid would get the book, and Thursday a kid would get the same book. And it was awesome, and it was tons of fun. And just recently, Tess says she misses this because she would create a really funny narration with a certain penguin named French Fry. So it was always science with French Fry and friends. And French Fry is horrid at teaching science. And that was part of the hilariousness of it. So this year they're just kind of doing literature based, and I cannot remember off the top of my head which book they're reading.
I'm trying to look up what my Elsie's reading too, because I can't remember what it's called either. It's like the Wonders of Creation ones, I think. Let me see if that's it.
I know, this is funny. As I think
have
I'm
a
all
whole set of
prepared.
them, and they're it's a 9 set. Let me see if that's it. It's not Master Books. Oh no, that's not it.
That's funny. Sometimes when I can't remember what we're doing, I go and see if I've posted about it or a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Well, I can tell you what I'm doing.
Oh, I
with
found
my
it.
Younger ones. Tell me yours. Yeah.
Tess is reading about Tesla.
Oh, cool.
So I found the book from the Libraries of Hope, which is Marlene Peterson's Well-Educated Heart. And most of the time she's loved it. Today's narration was hilarious. Like, this book is boring. But I think that was only what she read yesterday, because other than that, she's found it quite interesting. And then Briggy, he's actually already finished the book. It was way too easy for him. It was Galileo. And that was from Beautiful Feet. That's why I couldn't remember, because his narrations. I'm not getting
the
his
Elijah Galileo one?
Yes.
I like that book. It's a really fun one.
It is, but he finished it, even though he's only reading it a couple times a week. He finished it in 3 weeks.
It's an easy one.
Yes.
It's fun, though. So we're this year using Good and Beautiful for our science units for my younger two. My older Elsie we have this set of books, and I'm going to look it up and put in the show notes because I can't remember the like series title of them, but there's different ones that are like, she's reading biology right now, and it's just a short biology book, but it's like all about biology. And then there's a chemistry one, and there's like earth sciencey kind of one. Anyway, there's a whole set of them, and they're really cool. Brennan read them too for a while. So that's what she's doing this year. And my younger two, yeah, Good and Beautiful. And we're just doing the ocean unit right now.
Yes, because that's the free one, right?
I think I purchased it because I have the actual copy of it.
So I tried them for my first time last year, and I didn't, because I've been away from a curriculum for science for so long that it was really hard to go back to one.
I kind of like it for science to have a curriculum. I kind of go back and forth, but I prefer for science having one that's a little more scripted and well put together.
Definitely when I was in the beginning,
for my younger
had
ones.
to have
my
scripted.
bigger ones, I'm okay with them doing a little more free stuff. But
so Briggy last year, it was so fun. We just did science one time a week. And so I bought almost every book from Gail Gibbons, and I heard about her on Sarah Mackenzie's podcast.
Yeah, I have a lot of her books.
What's hers? The Family Read Aloud?
No, the Read Aloud Revival.
Read Aloud Revival, thank you. So she had Gail Gibbons on there one day, and I thought, this lady sounds amazing. So we literally did a different Gail Gibbons book every week, so I own almost all of them. And it was so fun. So Briggy and I would read the book together, and then we'd go on YouTube and watch videos about sharks.
Oh, that's fun.
And then this probably makes him sound creepy, but he loves natural disasters. So she has books on tornadoes and books on earthquakes and books on like all sorts of things. So then Briggy and I were watching YouTube videos of like biggest earthquake ever. And I'm like, are you going to sleep tonight, champ? They're not gory or anything, but like some kids, I think it would make them very nervous. And Brigham was like, this is awesome. So I love Gail Gibbons. Another one, I'm like Vanna White for YouTube people. The author is Diana Hutz Aston. And Sylvia Long, probably the
illustrator.
Thank you. I was like the drawer. But they have books like A Nest is Noisy, A Butterfly is Shy, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But the drawings, A Seed is Sleepy, are so pretty.
These are some of the most beautiful books. Yeah,
I love these.
We love these
so much. So we did. I can't remember. I think it was the Butterfly book, and then we went to back in the good old days when things were open. We went to the Butterfly Emporium and tried to find different butterflies. That's so we did a lot of nature study with what we were reading.
That's fun. So I've also used Apologia a lot in the past over the years, and I was just telling Megan before we started recording this that I was tagged in a post on Facebook, someone asking about our stance on this, because as members of the LDS Church, Apologia has come out with some very anti-Mormon literature and teaching materials. And so there's a lot of people of our faith that are very opposed to using it because of that. So someone was asking our stance on that. I'm going to be honest, I don't necessarily care. I mean, that sounds kind of silly, but like having grown up in a place where I know members of all faith and I'm good with people believing different things, and we talked about this one time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If people want to put, I don't know. If it's a good curriculum, I'm okay to just use it.
So my feelings are, I loved Apologia, and we had bought a bunch of them. And as soon as that came out, I didn't buy any of the new stuff. But I also haven't used them since. I keep them in my bookcase because my oldest actually still loves to look through them, and my kids will look through them because there's nothing in the older ones. And I've never read the newer ones to know.
I actually have some of the newer ones and didn't like the style. They changed styles. They changed writers partway through. And that was the thing is, like the newer ones, like the chemistry and biology and botany, are a different style than the earlier ones. And I really preferred the earlier ones, which are exploring creation through, they go through like the days of creation. It's like...
Yeah, it's like, the earth, the water, botany is one. That was fun.
And I've loved those books. And we had a lot of fun. We used those for quite a few years. We did all the animal ones because my oldest son is just an animal fanatic. And it was the perfect science for him. And we loved it. And I think it's a very well done curriculum. It is very religious and very...
God-based.
Very God-focused, very Christian, which I'm not opposed to, is fine, obviously. But yeah, so in terms of like my faith and my stance on that, I'm okay with using it. I respect people for their beliefs, and if they want to attack mine, so be it. It doesn't change my life.
Yeah, so I just don't use it anymore after they came out with that. But it's funny, all of our Battle of the Brains, all of our science questions came from the Autologia.
I'm going to just mention a couple more that we've used and I've been impressed with. And that is Nancy Larson, Noeo Science by Logos Press, and Bookshark. And all three of those have really great stuff also that we have enjoyed.
So can't we now just add a new thing?
Yes,
okay, that's what I thought.
And I did an right at the end. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We're still recording on here. We reached our 30-minute limit on our podcast thing, so we're pausing for 1 second, and we'll be right back in the actual discussion. But you get our interlude here for a second.
Do you want me to start hitting record then and keep
if we
going?
Can, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
So yeah, hi.
Okay. So you just said So you know where you are. Okay.
Yeah, so I really liked all three of those. We did Nancy Larson Science for a review one year, and I think I did the kindergarten level, and it's a really fun curriculum. It came in like a huge box set with tons of supplies, and it's really expensive if you want to buy it yourself, but it was awesome. We liked it a lot. And then Noeo Science, we liked those a lot too. They have like chemistry and physics and different things like that for younger grades.
Okay.
And my Brennan, who's, just all into science, always wanted to learn more about those things. So we used a couple of those. And they're literature units. So they have it's book focused, literature focused. So they have books you read and they give you a little reading schedule to learn. And it was awesome. I liked it a lot. It was a good one.
I know one year we did Getting to Know the World's Greatest Inventors and Scientists by Mike Venezia.
Oh, Venezia.
Thank you.
I don't know. Venezia. Italian, right?
And that was fun because we would do a different one each week, and then we would do an activity and create something that kind of mimicked that person, right? So I can't think of one off the top of my head, but you can.
His books are so fun, though. We have all his artist ones, and a lot of his presidents and composers. They're so fun. My kids love those.
Yes, and my kids they always know about random people in history, and I was thinking, how do you know this?
That's what we use for our artist study.
Yes, I do too. So that's way fun to use that one. And then this year I subscribed to Tinker Crate.
Oh, we do that too.
Is that what they call
There's Kiwi and Tinker and Doodle and all kinds.
Yeah, so I lost in a very good way, but Ethan has been watching the kids for me Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons for me to work. And he started an LDS mission yesterday, which is so exciting. And
from home.
Yeah, so he goes every day. He goes out, he does a service mission. And so every day he goes out and works 8 to 9 hours and serves somewhere, and then we get him at night. So I'm super grateful for that. But I lost my helper. So Joshy, one of his things he's doing is because he actually has a very beautiful science gifted mind. And I knew the Tinker Crates would be fun, and I actually put it in his name on purpose. And he will, on one of the days a week, that's what he'll be doing.
Oh, that's so fun.
Creating.
Yeah, we love those too. Those are fun.
Yeah.
We've gotten them over the years.
Yeah, so my husband still doesn't know that I ordered it. He doesn't listen to the podcast. It's fine. But he does all of our finances, so he knows anyway.
All right, so our final subject. Megan is in lots of tangents today. That's why we went over 30 minutes.
I guess.
Our final subject is math. Everyone's favorite. Woohoo! Right?
Yeah. I'm toning it down, Karen.
I know. Currently for math, we are using teaching textbooks. Not exclusively.
Is Brennan?
My youngest is not. Brennan still is doing it. He's doing the upper levels, the high school levels now. But my youngest is using Christian Light Press for her math.
Yes, I know we have another friend that loves Christian Light.
I like their math a lot. It's good.
Will you keep going with her with Christian Light, or will you eventually have her
I'll probably switch over. As soon as they get to the upper grades, I put them online and let them figure it out themselves.
Yes.
I'm getting really good at math, though. As I send more kids through it, I'm like, hey, I'm good at this now. I didn't used to be, but it's gotten better.
Well,
I'm not as afraid anymore.
So most of my oldest ones did a math book the whole time until they jumped into that college arena and high school arena.
Oh, yeah.
And so if they needed help, I was like, I know math now. And so I'm super grateful because when my little kids came along, because some of the math I had to learn right along with the older kids.
Same.
And when the little kids came along, they're like, "You're so smart." I was like, "I know." But like I had to learn fractions. I don't know why I never
long
did fractions.
division.
I think I did no long division.
Well, I learned these things, but it's been so long since I've done them. And so I literally, like Brennan, my oldest, I was learning it all again right alongside of him because I really had not used it in 20 years, you know? I don't know how many years, but a long time.
Yes.
And so it's been cool to relearn it, and I actually kind of like it now, and it's okay.
Funny to me that I actually, for never being studious when I was an actual student, how much I actually enjoy math. And in 6th grade, I was in honors classes of math. And then I realized how, like, that's hard work. So why would I do that, right? And then I didn't try anymore. And so it's funny now, like I always tell my kids, like, I wonder what I was capable of if I would have pushed myself as a child. But we're back. So this year, Tess is still doing teaching textbooks. And Brigham is back to Saxon. That happened last week.
Okay.
And he said, I cannot take this anymore.
Does he not like the online stuff? He's struggling with his school this year, huh?
He is. And like, we just mixed everything up. And it was so funny because I've done a whole YouTube video of what we're doing. And I just wanted, I need, like Brigham's, I need to go back and say, like, scratch that. That's not working
Just
for
do
him.
a take 2.
Yeah, take 2 of just, we're in 3 weeks into our new term, I think.
Yeah.
And hates math again. He hates all these things. And he said, I want to go back to Saxon. I don't feel like I'm learning enough in teaching textbooks. I don't feel like I'm getting pushed enough. He actually he likes math, and he doesn't feel like he's learning as much as he could be learning with teaching textbooks.
Good for him.
So we started back in the olden days with Math UC. So it's the letter U, SEE. And
I never use that.
Yeah, so it has really cool, what are they called? Manipulatives?
Yeah, the little like
blocks.
Yes.
There we go. And I basically bought that because my neighbor had it, and I didn't know any other curriculum. And my kids learned it well, but it drills so much that they said, I cannot take this any longer. Of like, I get it. 3 plus this, you know, like, they really mastered.
Too repetitive.
Way too repetitive. So then we switched to Saxon.
And we felt that way about Saxon. I used it for 1st grade for Brennan, and he hated it because it was the same thing where it was so repetitive. Yeah. And so I know there's a lot of people that I've talked to that do love Saxon, that do kind of every other problem.
It is my
and
favorite.
Stuff like that. So it's a good program. I know a lot of schools use it, and so
I think more just private schools. I don't think
private schools around here. Yeah.
But so we did Saxon for quite a long time. And then when I was helping 6 children doing a math lesson, I was like, this is not working. But Briggy, I was super excited because George, I had always planned on doing Saxon. So I don't start an actual math book until 3rd grade anyway. So with him, I'll just create stuff. But Briggy's 4th grade, so we just grabbed the math, Saxon 5/4s, I think is what it's called. And I just have him do the evens or the odds. And so far, so good. That's
good. So other ones I've used in the past is CTC is another online program that
we tried that.
We both have tried and didn't continue it. It's okay. I think it doesn't.
There's no
repetition. There's
none.
I feel like my kids weren't really progressing much.
And I didn't know if because it's based out of another country, if there was that. It's based out of Australia.
Australian.
Because we are not the metric system.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like there were just things that I felt like that weren't computing over to us.
That's I've mostly just used. I've done Christian Light Math for several years with my kids, and it's good. Teaching textbooks and CTC are the 3 that I've mainly used. But then I have some other like supplement ones that I've done, and I love Beast Academy.
I haven't heard about one.
They're so cute. They're like cartoony books, but they're like really hard math in it, and it's taught in such a fun way that my kids. I don't do the workbooks, but some people use it as a full curriculum, but I just like the books. And my kids will read the books and they learn so much from them and they think they're just funny. And so that's just a fun. And then another fun supplement we love is The Life of Fred.
I did do that one with
those
my
are tons
kids.
of fun. And it's, again, I don't use it as a full curriculum, but I know people that have and do and have success there.
Yes, I don't know how it would work as a full curriculum.
I don't either. But it's a fun supplement
very, very
that we enjoy
fun.
reading.
Yes, my kids love the story of Fred. And what does he only drink? The juice. What is it called? Sluicers?
Lewis or something like that.
Something. Yeah. He has his doll.
Like slushy, basically. Anyway, it's silly and fun, and it's a whole storyline. that is really cute. And so those are fun extras that we do for math. And last year with my kindergartner, I did use the Kindergarten Good and Beautiful Math. And it was really cute and really fun, and she enjoyed it. It was very mom intensive, a lot of moving parts, a lot of pieces. And this year when I was getting ready to purchase, everything was sold out on the Good and Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, we'll just go back to Christian Light because I know I like that. And I'm really glad I did, because her lessons are just, it's so simple to do compared to the Good and the Beautiful. And it saves me so much time.
Yeah.
And that sounds selfish, but it's just, and she's totally fine with it. She's like, oh, this is great and easy. And most of it, she's first grade, most of it she can do completely on her own.
Right.
And so I love that.
Yeah, that's fun. This episode ended up being way longer than we intended, partly because I'm long-winded. But we wanted to kind of give you a deeper overview, and then what we'll be doing the next 4 episodes will be our friends' favorites of just history, and our friends' favorites of these. And so, like, Karen shared some today that I've never heard of. And we've been friends for a long time, and I've been homeschooling a long time.
We don't know everything about each other yet.
I know. Every curriculum, that'd be so random. Like, oh, how creepy is that?
That would be creepy.
Yeah. And so we just wanted to give you an overview of options. So like my son was saying that he does not like the Good and the Beautiful curriculum, the language arts. Now you have some other options. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, I tried this, and I think you can get a lot of hers for free, so you could try them.
Lots of them are there to download for free, yeah. So I think that's a good way to just try it out and sample it for a couple of days and see how you feel about it. And you can do that with a lot of different ones where you can go out and get sample lessons. And so
yes, to try it out. And I actually, what I like about this other language arts is a lot of the things are put to songs or a chant. And so like the pronouns and prepositions and all these things. And I like short and sweet lessons that are not the Good and Beautifuls for me too. Like I almost hated it. And I'm sure that rubbed off on Briggy because it was this long lesson. And
sometimes
now we're going to break
super long. Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny. They go from, some are like 5 pages and some are 1. And so I never quite know what we're going to get with it.
Yes.
Which is a little tricky.
So Tess does hers all on her own, so it's fine. But Briggy, I thought, meh, let's mix it up, champ. So I probably won't even do it with George. And so just giving you kind of that power to here's a buffet. That's what I was thinking. I was telling somebody the other day. Like your curriculum, did we say this in the other episode? But it's a buffet. And sometimes you have to have other people tell you what, like, this is what I liked in this buffet. This is what I like about it. This is what I don't like about it. So being willing to try different pieces of the buffet till you find the one that you like the best.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Thanks for listening today.
Yeah.
And we will catch you next time.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.